2 as we speak. Leo, rank 13, Effort, rank 16. So these guys are doing very well in solo queue, and there is scouting that we've done to be able to give you guys an understanding of champion pool. If you did not join us for our first series, an update on where the meta is at, patch 8.11, Taliyah and Karthus are allowed to be played but cannot take the Smite Summoner. So Taliyah priority is a little bit down because you cannot flex it as much. Not every team kind of really clear on where Taliyah should be in terms of should she be banned or even picked, but that is the reality involving the Taliyah. There is also a Vlad skin that's disabled, but not a big deal.
No.
Otherwise, patch 8.11, a new roster, a new Dawn, or just a sidestep by SKT, we can't know. So right now, a lot of mid laners banned by SKT.
Yeah, Aurelia and Zoe both taken away. Master Yi going to deny the Taric as well, so theoretically a 2-for-1 ban over there. As Swain going to be taken away. Pyrion playing that a hell of a lot, spamming the heck out of it in solo queue.
We look at most played in the last 7 days. Taliyah, Vlad, Lulu, LeBlanc, and Yasuo. For Pyrion, in case you guys are wondering at home, they're going to first pick the Camille. Probably for Blossom, who won't be able to be funneled on the Master Yi this time, although it didn't work so well when they ran the Martyr strategy of Master Yi on Blossom, and at the time, Faker playing Taric.
Yeah, of course, can be flexed around as well, but pretty much everything on this patch can be flexed, as Lulu has certainly rose
Speaking
the
of a
prevalence.
chief offender of being flexed.
Yeah. We need to see Yondu jungler.
She's played all 5 roles in the last year, I would say.
Yeah, of course, Peanut. Was it Peanut or Spirit?
Spirit.
Spirit.
In the jungle.
Debuting it in the jungle.
And have we got a mid-jungle duo, if that's where these two end up going? As Lulu Xin Zhao, a very strong invading duo that works against Camille. So I'd love to see Pyrion play another champion that's strong. And let's get the brawling going in the 2v2. It'll be just like solo queue if there's level 2 ganks abound in the mid lane. Pyrion, if you are not familiar with him, is a player that the North American fans would know very well. Started on Team Impulse, Phoenix One, Envious, playing over in North America. Was playing as recently as the end of last year before Niski came over.
Whoa, okay.
As a Galio comes in. Now, the only Galio we've seen in the LCK has been in the support role, Esri. We saw a support Galio.
In fact, Max was the one playing it.
It's a takeaway pick. Now, they do have a Champions Spring Wombo combo of the Hextech Ultimatum, the Hero's Entrance, and the Vladimir Hemo play. So there is still that initiation trio, and Blossom plus initiation is usually the way they've prospered when he's in the lineup. MVP look at it and say, I hope it's Ryze versus Vlad somewhere.
Yep, exactly. And almost pricing them into the Ryze pickup, because we've seen that one picked into the Vlad as often as it possibly can. Often people just picking the Ryze to deny the Vladimir a little bit as well. The mind games have been running amok so far in Champion Select. Morgana going to be the first ban here from MVP, targeting the bottom side of the map. So they're not assuming that that Galio is going to go into the support role, as ADD's Singed is once again going to be banned.
And he is the god of solo queue right now.
Oh yeah.
He is currently, I think he just moved up from 3 to 2 ahead of Faker, who had a bit of a run of bad games. I wonder what news he might have gotten that coincided with him dropping a bit of LP. So AD up there, and Singed has been one of his power picks, seeing a lot of the bruisers banned away. Do note that Anivia is still open and could be used, and she is, along with Swain, a bit of a counter to the current meta. Aatrox taken out as well. So waiting to understand the SKT comp, and MVP so far have a lot of power on the red side.
Yeah, and Max could be picking up that Lulu, so could also be a mid laner being looked for here. Both solo lanes could be still up for debate for MVP, as Mundo would make a lot of sense. He's been extraordinarily difficult to deal with very recently, as ADD will be able to take that one away from himself.
And a bit of a ticking time bomb, because he loads on with a wild growth as well, and bad things tend to happen to the opposing team. We saw our first Rumble recently, that was from Smeb, and we thought maybe 8-12 with the buffs, and Nasus, an old favorite of Tal's. I believe that may have been his debut champion. Certainly played it very early in the piece. A farm lane against Mundo is very possible. They hover it for a long time. They will be going Nasus into Mundo, okay.
That's going to be the choice, and of course Koma generally isn't surprised by much. So probably had that one in their back pocket to pick that one up as Effort, considering a support here, so not going to be the support Galio again.
I'd like to see how Tal's performance does many months removed from his debut on Nasus. Because if you remember, Atlas, the problem with that game was his teleports just were not in sync with the team. He was never there on the Nasus, his teleports were either absent or very poorly conceived. So if he's going to be AFK farming, he better be a bit more on the ball with that one. Fiddlesticks frequently banned but rarely picked in the LCK. Can be risky against an all-in support like the Rakan. We'll be taking it anyway. Max will be jumping onto the Fiddlesticks support. So Fiddlesticks Rise looking like the bot lane. Lulu likely in the mid lane. The power of Lulu Xin, power of Lulu and Mundo in the late game. There is synergies there. We will be having a Galio mid lane. It's played by Pyrion.
Yep, Pyrion going to be taking it. And you're looking at SKT, you're looking at the names here, and not a lot of them are looking very familiar. So excited to see what we're going to get out of Leo, what we're going to get out of Pyrion, who... Pyrion, of course, mixing things up. Haven't seen a lot of Galio in the current meta. I've seen its sprinklings. Of course, Max playing it on the bottom side of the map, but Leo on the Vladimir, very understandable. We've seen Rakan Vlad be a really popular combination, and Max was very successful on the Fiddlesticks last time we saw him there as MVP debuted the season.
And if SKT can keep up in gold, they have very scary teamfight engagement. In terms of lane priority, Rise into Vlad is a good one. Lulu will have more lane presence than the nerfed Galio. And Mundo will have the push on top side. Be very even. The Nasus, of course, can keep up. It feels like early game MVP have a lot of options. And surely there are some bugs to work out for this new lineup from SKT. Yeah. So let's see if SKT can stabilize and then some. MVP, they're going to be so surprised with the roster that are facing them. A must-win game for both teams. They do find a lot of rookies on the LCK stage as a BBQ Oliver's skin I spy on my little eye.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. Pyrion's going to be gracing us with the gorgeous Chicken Galio in the mid lane. But guys, it's not what you expected from SKT, but the young mechanics crew are now here to play. We'll see whether they can make it work or whether MVP is going to topple them. Let's get onto the rift. The amount of SKT fans in this audience is ridiculous. We're, you know, for quite early in the day still, we're pretty much full, but MVP fans are just so loud.
And you just look at the SKT fans and you can see and read the expression and the thought around the community. It's a pretty catchy line of "it's not my SKT." And for a lot of people who came today, they paid for a ticket to see Faker, the greatest player of all time. They want to see SKT, one of the most successful squads of all time, and this one on the screen is not very representative of the one they know and love. But 5 days is the amount of time they had off between their last loss and now. They've tried many different things with Faker and friends, and they haven't worked. The coaching staff has chosen to play these players. We've done some investigating. It is important to note that the other SKT starters are at the studio. I wondered maybe whether when I saw the team sheet earlier today that perhaps you'd leave them at home and scrim independently and run 2 squads at the same time. A freak ask in that way. That isn't what's happened here. The players are here. This may just be a one-game thing, or this may be some facsimile of the norm for SKT. And I'm just excited to be front row to find out which of them it is.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what it means, like, based on the result, right? If they lose, you expect that you're probably going to put in your A-team afterwards. If they don't, what does that mean? But if they win, do you then keep this current roster and see whether they can do it again?
It's also hard to get scientific because they've changed so many things at once.
Exactly.
Who is shot calling?
True. Is it Tal? Because he's the only one that we've seen before this season?
The rumored belief, again, this wasn't 100% go, the belief was that Wolf was brought back over Effort, who was the starter at the start of spring for shot calling reasons, so you wouldn't think Effort. Tal from top lane. Blossom just goes in and engages and you follow. It's difficult to know questions. We don't have answers really about SKT or why they're running this roster. All we can do is look at the premise of they were not doing very well. They were losing all their games. They tried Faker on the Taric, that of course got a lot of people angry. He went on his old Lulu, that was a classic for Faker. That didn't work. He played a Yasuo game. He's played everything. They've tried a lot of things in 4 games.
Yeah, even the Darius that was playing, he did multiple different lanes at the same time.
Right now is a moment in time. 887 days removed from the last time Faker was subbed out. And trades like that from Pyrion aren't necessarily going to believe us.
Oh, the flash coming in from me, and he looks for it, doesn't find it. But that was real close. I think if that Glitter Lance had have actually connected before the flash, then that could have just been First Blood going solo kill to Ian.
Wouldn't be the look you're looking for when you're replacing the best player of all time.
Nope, and he haven't seen Faker have very much trouble with Ian in the past.
The Galio is quite a risky pick to be picking a pretty weak mid laner. Double TP, but both junglers are here.
Blossom going to start with the counter jungle. Actually, no, he is coming down here. Hookshot is going to connect. The flash comes in. The stun onto Ian. He's in a lot of trouble. Moves over towards Yondu, who wants to try and make this a 1-for-1, but he's not going to be able to get there now. Just has to pick up all this farm. Teleport just used by Ian. It's a disaster for MVP.
Nice timing there from Blossom. They make it work in the mid lane. They take him down. Neither summoners were on cooldown. Able to escape. We saw both junglers. The first one to pull away was Yondu. That's not in position. First blood to new SKT.
Yeah, getting that flash hookshot as well made it look easy as Ian was trying to go for that solo kill early. Just really good gank timing. Bottom lane, haven't seen too much from it so far.
And remember, when we evaluate these comps, we like a lot of the lane matchups for the side of MVP, but you can't help but look past an intense wombo when the Hero's Entrance and the Hexa Ultimatum are paired together. It is guaranteed knockups. A Vladimir Hemoplague and maybe even a La Dogman thrown into that could be a nice wombo, but the cost was laning pretty weak. That's always been the cost of some of these pylon comps, is they aren't as strong in isolation as they are all together. So picking up kills early is a better sign that they'll actually bridge the gap to that mid to late game where they can really turn up.
Yeah, and I'd like to sort of break down the Nasus, but I think Blossom's going to come in for a gank first up. You've got the engage, but maybe a little bit late as there's the flash out of Pilot, uses all of his mana, and Blossom doesn't suffer any damage there at all. So good flash to come in as Effort used most of his health bar to make that happen.
Pilot actually started in the Corrupting Potion, not something like a Sapphire Crystal, so his mana pool is very, very low. For the matchup, he just can get a tier and back, such as the Teleport Summoner, but another flash blown by Blossom is still some very good gank pathing. He had a poor game last time out. Again, a lot of people did, but Blossom didn't look at a solution for the SKT jungle problem. But so far, in this roster where he's on the more experienced side of things when it comes to SKT games, he's doing well.
Yeah, and we did know Blossom for sort of unrelenting aggression.
Yes.
When he first sort of made his marks on the LCK. So good to see that he's gone back to that as Yondu. He's running pretty fast, but has spotted Blossom. The Tiamat already completed.
Yeah, big item lead. So even though you're Xin Zhao and you back yourself in most 1v1s, maybe pull away with just the Skirmisher Saber complete. So that means there's a no-go zone around the Tiamat on the Camille. The laning phases are looking pretty comfortable. Nasus is going to be doing his hard farming thing. Again, this is the first time we're seeing the matchup in 2018 Summer, but now that we've seen the, okay, turns out you can just blind pick Mundo and do fine, we're waiting for the next picks into it, and the Nasus is a decidedly Tal way to go.
Yeah, and I also wanted to, talk about it before I was rudely interrupted by a gank on the bottom side, because I feel like in a meta where the range of everyone is so low, Nasus would sort of fit. Remember, it was a lot, the answer to Nasus was to kite him, you know, and that was easier for AD carries, things like that. Is there a chance that we might be seeing a little bit more? Is this a good idea from Tal?
At the moment, I'm in the don't try this at home school of thought because I follow the logic of, okay, a pretty free laning phase for Nasus to get stacks, but the game is also decided before Nasus could have a lot of stacks.
Yeah.
Now you can go for an Emax, notice it is Qmax on the Nasus, so it is a stacking build. Because of the game time, because of the amount of snowball gold, my first impression is no. Now is not the time. There was a Yasuo and some other champions on the side, and you get the secondary benefit of shutting down someone with your W. Again, maybe you creep forward, but overall, with the amount of gold in 8.11, I say no. However, I'm leaving myself open to the chance to be swayed.
Oh, we'll see whether Tal can be the one to sway you. With champions like Mundo, who does like to scale a little bit more, it would make a little bit more sense, potentially. Not having the Dariuses and the Aatroxes in this game could be a thing, as Yondu waiting for a gank here as Winds of War, Tyrion, and just punch his way out. That means that there's no opportunity for the Xin to get in there.
Awesome. And Yondu are level 6, so a bit more respect being shown by MVP. Importantly, Fiddle hasn't used his summoners yet. He may need to shortly.
Blossom, that's an interesting maneuver, as he is going to try and jump in with the ult, but that's him just dead. Max is going to be able to pick up that kill, and that was just straight up a mistake, as Ian, he's going to find Pyrion here as well as MVP. They're going to collapse. It's 4 versus 3 on the bottom side, and the flash immediately has to be used by Pyrion, but has he actually made it out just yet? As there's the Crow Storm. Max makes his way forward. No more mana, but it doesn't matter, and he picks up a double kill.
Could there ever be a more Blossom 8 minutes than what we have seen here? This is what Blossom brings the team, and some people will embrace that, other people will be quizzical about it. He went for the play, he thought most of it through, but not just the fear, stuffing the engage. Turret damage doesn't get reduced by the hero's entrance, and he dies. So the cost here is going to be an Ocean Drake for laning as well. That one in the no column for Blossom.
Yeah, just straight up hookshotted himself to death. Which is not something that we're used to seeing, but it happened yesterday. Exactly,
it is a play going around. Crazy and now Blossom have something to talk about, as Blossom thought, this is my time. It wasn't his time.
Yeah, I think he high-fived Max and then got drained to death. Pretty sure that's what happened. Max at least gave him the courtesy flash. So that's nice. Now, this Realm Warp was really nicely used by Pilot. Chased down all too easy.
Yeah, I don't have any further analysis for the
I felt like you probably didn't
into the turret strategy by Blossom.
Yeah. That was when the play-by-play can take the analysis for the replay.
Hey, you used to be a color caster, Atlas.
I did. Back in 2014. Represent. I got quickly taken away from that role for some reason. Not entirely sure why. Now MVP certainly have control over this bottom side. SKT try and clear out some waves and lick their wounds after that disaster. Only 200 gold is going to separate the teams, as First Blood and a bit of farm is going to help out.
And even 2 steps forward, 2 steps back wouldn't be the worst for SKT, given how many variables have changed.
Yeah.
And there is a bit of impeding doom for both teams when it comes to the top laners. Mundo has been the unsung hero of LCK Summer 2018, outscaling game upon game. There is no AD carry to try to kill him. He could die through Wombo, but then there's probably a lot of members of MVP who have been spared from taking damage, so he's pretty much loaded for the late game. But also, I would say the mid game from SKT around the Nasus has a lot of power. Again, Hero's entrance and also the Camille ult is... Okay, speaking of ults.
Wow, we are just engaging onto the weirdest stuff on both sides of the map. MVP, Yondu just going to charge his way forward, immediately regrets his decision and gets out.
Teams playing that chicken, having a lot of fun around the mid side. Yondu losing his flash means the Xin Zhao is not going to be the scariest thought coming into side lanes.
I want to talk about Tal's build as well, going straight for the Trinity Force, not opting in for, you know, the Kindle Gem builds that we see that are a little bit more subdued.
Bit Darius-esque in the build path.
Yeah, we've seen Darius just forego everything. It's always Trinity Force every single time here in the LCK.
Duo lanes, we saw Banner of Command, but in solo lanes,
yeah, true.
Basically Trinity Force only.
Expecting more Black Leaders, personally.
I guess there's just less tanks. Well, here we go.
Yeah, it's going to come down. Ignite immediately used onto Effort, and he's just going to die. Nothing that he can really offer here, as Pilot's just doing so much damage. They're offering one back. The drain from Max is going to keep him alive, but not for long enough, as that's Leo grabbing the kill. Blossom now hookshots his way out, but Yondu, he wishes he had the flash available. He doesn't, and that's going to be the Sanguine Pool getting Leo to safety.
And not there to speed him up either, so a couple of kills go begging for the side of MVP. It ends up being a 1-for-1. More time invested from SKT and a couple of summoners down. The top laners look at this and they say, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I believe Tal's teleport was down previously. It's too far down for it to have been cancelled. So we're going to watch the replay of what happened here. It started with a Fiddle going in and Camille being in hookshot range, so you instantly assumed this was going to be cleanup, but Max takes so long to die because he just ends up drain tanking and wasting the time of SKT.
Yeah, drain tanking for so long there as well. It's a great flash from Blossom to get himself out of the way of Pilot, as he thankfully has his hookshot back up, which is what saved him. But yeah, certainly a lot of close calls for SKT towards the end of that, and it did turn out okay with the Vladimir picking up a kill. Proto Belt Vlad as well.
We're going to have to wait and evaluate Leo on the Vladimir. Again, he's ranked 13 coming into this game, but doesn't have Vlad among his most played in the last 5 days. Been a lot of Vlad bans in solo queue, but Lucian, Aurelia, Ezreal, Mordekaiser, and Yasuo. So been playing a bit of the old, a bit of the new.
Yep.
Definitely wasn't originally employed to be the understudy to Bang, to play some of these mages, and we've seen pretty wavering Vladimir performances. Deft yesterday struggling heavily on the pick to get the same sort of relevance. So we'll see how he does, as he is set up to be pretty easy to know when to press the Hemoblade button.
Well, speaking of pressing buttons, Yondu's going to audaciously charge towards Effort as Wild Growth gets the double knock-up. I like it. Pyrion in a whole host of trouble, has to flash his way out as Realm Walk is just going to get Pilot there. Realm Walk. Not warping this time around as MVP. They're going to have some spare time with this outer turret in the mid lane. Leo, can he get in there? Flash comes down from Effort. He wants to start it. Here's the Wombo. They do get one of the knockups as Hemoplague from Leo is going to help secure it. Pyrion's going to grab that kill as SKT fight back.
Insane amount of setup for the hero's entrance. It should always be registering on multiple people. Yondu's flash being down has cost them in so many different ways, positive and negative. We back away. SKT hold a slender gold lead. We're still no closer to knowing where their mind's at, where this roster is at. We're still surprised to not see Faker in the mid lane, but it certainly could have gone worse for the side of SKT.
Yeah, a lot of surrounding going on here towards the bottom side of the map. I don't think Blossom has really been anywhere else for most of this game, as Max is just going to hang out at the brush. He's got himself his control ward, the happiest fiddle in the world.
Pretty hard to play bot lane in this sort of a scenario as an all-in support like Fiddle without knowing anything about what's happening bot side. As you say, Blossom has controlled vision around here, so the all-in has been still prosperous. He has 3 kills, which is both awkward and good, depending on how you look at it. I guess the Zonias will be a bit earlier in this game.
Yep. Teleport going to come down, get Ian back into lane. Gonna keep throwing glitter lances at this Gargoyle.
He's gone Banner of Command Lulu, which is becoming more and more common, and the Galio will not be very fast to clear out, so that's going to be annoying if Pyrion tries to play side lanes.
It does mean that Ian doesn't have a lot of kill threat on anything at this particular stage, just going to be that support Lulu that we've been talking about.
Pyrion's probably most well known for his Talia play, so his global play is something that he's pretty used to, so the Galio does fit his wheelhouse there.
Still a lot of Orianna in his history. Like to harken back to those sort of picks, but the Galio is going to be this game, and we'll see whether the hero's entrances are still going to be good. Because did manage to secure that kill in the mid lane.
It's pretty hard for them to be bad when you have both
He's got a lot of options.
And also Blossom who go untargetable on the engage. Second Drake of the game, a second Ocean going the way of MVP. Rise feels good about this.
Yep.
New Rise build you guys are noticing. The Rod of Aegis no longer is there, especially in the duo lane. Very common to see the Seraph's Embrace into situational. Shirelia's for some people. Morellonomicon is almost certainly going to come out in this game with a Vladimir on the enemy lineup.
Yep. Carl, he's finished his Trinity Force, reporting on the top lane. SKT have themselves a casual 1,000 gold lead.
A lot of respect being shown by ADD. He had a triangle control ward, yet gave up a couple of autos, and Trinity Force autos from a Nasus need no introduction.
Yep. Blossom is here in the mid lane, but Yondu's going to turn up as well, as Pyrion. Not a lot of buttons remain off cooldown. That being said, a casual movement to the left should be able to get them out of the way. Just testing the waters here are these mid laners and junglers.
Again, when we predicted SKT to be at their weakest, they are ahead in gold. That is something to take away.
Yeah.
Lane matchups very strong for MVP. Being able to turn them into big leads early. The mid game, press R button combo from SKT is very, very powerful. The guaranteed engage of Camille and Galio. That's not even including the Rakan. So, but now at least, Nasus had an uninteractive laning phase and has got stacking on. We can see stacks starting to add up. Very hard in the spectator overlay to actually work out what number they're at.
Yeah.
There's a bug from 6 years ago that's still there.
There's been not a lot of Nasus that we've needed to check in on.
True.
Over that time. It's MVP getting control of that bottom side, but Blossom, he's up here trying to make ADD's life a little bit worse. It's a level 12 Mundo, though, with a Sunfire Cape and a Kindle Gem. So good luck, Blossom, is what I'm going to say.
I understand why he was playing bot side. This is no fun.
Yeah, this is also double Ocean Drake Mundo as well, who just needs to stand still for a little bit, and he'll get a lot of his health back.
But who's he running at the end of the game, Alex? Because running at a Zoe, excellent. Running at an AD carry, excellent. But positioning a Mundo here is going to be very interesting to track because there's really no backline. Everyone's diving.
That's true. Well, maybe he just needs to stand on top of Pilot, on top of Yondu. And maybe this is going to be one of those games where everyone is going to be standing on top of themselves. So, you know, things like Spiritfire and what we were talking about with the Nasus becomes a little bit more of an issue, because normally Nasus gets kited and doesn't do much in the late game. Now he's going to be able to queue people to death for infinite amounts of damage.
And normally Mundo soaks a threat's damage and trivializes them while the rest of his team does their thing, because Mundo does a lot of things well. He pokes as a tank, which is very strong. He can trivialize a hyper carry. He can trivialize any siege mage very well. But he doesn't peel well, Atlas, and if he's not peeling and he's not diving, he's going to be in kind of a weird scenario, maybe just an AoE slow from the wild growth thing he provides. So you got to say, as a comp, this one handles a Mundo in the late game better than any other Mundo comp we've seen so far.
Yeah, not to mention that Blossom has tools to get ADD out of the face of anyone anyway, so it's going to be very interesting. Remember, the Galio will most likely be building Rod of Ages into more damage for having that AoE threat. They can't have too many tanks on this team, but
some people go Proto Belt, some people go Leandries, a lot of different options available. Just pure AP, a Death Cap is certainly not out of the realm.
But hasn't actually started his next item just yet, so we won't know in the next little while. As in goes Blossom. Banner of Command, like you were alluding to earlier on, is difficult to deal with for this Galio.
Camille will just keep rotating through mid lane, no reason to go top, and bot lane is, right now, well warded by the side of MVP, so he hasn't been going there. Just helping out with the Banner of Command off cooldown. It's almost another camp for him to get to, the enemy Banner of Command minion.
Well, Crowstorm's going to fly forward, as Leo is going to get feared and silenced, but doesn't even have to use the pull to escape that gank, as Max just goes back to the drawing board.
We'll call that a rash of blood to the head. That was also not the greatest ultimate.
We call it optimistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Not quite as costly as Blossoms, so well, C- for that one.
Yeah, we're not going to give him a huge score. That being said, no harm, no foul. Didn't actually, just wasted it. You know, that's about it. Almost has his Zodni's Hourglass completed, so he's going to go back and probably purchase that one anyway while the Crowstorm comes back off cooldown.
Might invite a turret dive though, Atlas, and they see Max Recall.
Oh, Pilot. He wants to try and get out of the way. He's actually going to get stunned beforehand, but it doesn't actually matter. Hero's Entrance is going to get Pyrian in there, and he's going to be able to pick up that kill all too easily for SKT.
And funnily enough, Max failing the Crowstorm is what led to the death of his duo partner in the bot lane. Wouldn't have died if not for ulting out and then coming back into lane. They say, okay, we can walk up for the turret dive. There's no Crowstorm, and they see him recoil. It's kind of the evil triangle that came together and conspired for Pilot's death. So well capitalized on by SKT, knowing that information.
Yep, so 3,000 gold now going to be the lead, as it's a kill plus first turret blood going over to SKT.
CDR build coming through for Pyrian. Again, I was mentioning the full AP build. The new standard by the end that Faker enjoyed was Luden second after the Rod of Ages for a bit of CDR, and even more poke.
This looks like Morellonomicon going to be coming in as the next option. Not going to want to get Drain tanked, as well as ADD, relying on that one a lot. So Grievous Wounds has a lot of value here this game.
Looking at the damage dealt, and Mundo's done a lot of meaningless damage in his lane, as Nasus has a lifesteal on passive, so doesn't give too many Mundos about Mundo.
Nope. Siphoning Strike, pretty damn good at keeping him healthy, especially now that he's got a few stacks picked up. ADD not really caring about the fact that there's 3 people up in his lane. He's got friends on the way as well. Half the health bar has been reduced, but not a lot of extra damage has been done since Tal had a little bit of spare time.
Pretty much at the point, though, where short up Trinity Force on Camille, SKT's fully online. 2 items on the Vladimir. The Nasus not going to die instantly, got a bit of defense alongside its Trinity Force. Very much the time you want to get that famous Galio-Camille combo, or Rakan Galio combo going. So you have to be very careful not to clump. Again, you have so little options when you have the Ultimatum and the Hero's Entrance together. But so far, Drakes have been the big good news story for them.
What was that, 470?
Something like that. It's definitely stacking up for the Nasus. Game goes another 20 minutes. Nasus is going to be tricky to deal with.
It's going to be rough. Same thing can be said for Mundo, though. But it's just all about how these fights are orchestrated.
Teams are playing towards their ward lines. You notice MVP move their control wards top side, so for the first time, they're actually going to give up a Drake and also some turret damage on bot side. So nicely done by SKT to capitalize on the ward line moving after MVP had monopolized the first 2 Drakes.
Not going to lose very much of anything either, as Tal. He's a bit of a merry jaunt through the enemy jungle. And I'll end up going back. There's not too many safe places for him to be.
I gotta say, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of Ardent Sensor on this comp. I guess you're giving it to the Mundo, because Sin's gonna die instantly, so...
Well, if he gets the wild growth, maybe he doesn't die as instantly. But I mean,
Peculiar
not dying
time.
as instantly is probably still not good.
I feel like more AP might have been preferable to the Ardent Sensor with the no marksman comp, but...
There was recently a Reddit thread about this. Come on, Ian. Have you been reading Reddit?
Probably on Invent. Actually, no, I heard not that many people on Invent anymore. I guess he's among the smattering of different Korean users.
Yeah, potentially. Well, missed out on that particular article. As Morellonomicons have been completed. There is at least one that has been done by Pilot. So he's on item number 2. See whether it's going to be Void Staff next to try and get through this. Ian, he's in a lot of trouble, and we'll see whether Max can turn it around. Crowstorm does fly forward as Hero's entrance is going to be there. Yes, it's going to be interrupted though. And Max picks up the kill onto Blossom now. SKT getting it turned around, but can Tal get the work done? He's sprinting away with that fear. And now ADD trying to do what he can. Grievous Wounds going to be available, forcing the flash in order to get ADD out. He's still alive, gets the clutch shield, and he's going to survive. Somehow Ian actually walks away.
Gonna turn it around. While the lanes were good for MVP, you're seeing the struggle in team fights. How are they gonna get value out of their damage? Their damage is so incidental. We talked about the Ardent Sensor on the Lulu, but it feels like already they're having struggles with damage, and I'm not sure Fiddle and Rise will do the heavy lifting. Good interrupt, good play here to get the first kill. But the moment Nasus comes in and AD has no one to run at, no one can peel, and Yondu, like I mentioned, gonna die pretty fast.
Yeah, he dies extraordinarily fast. I'm glad that he at least proved your point extremely quickly, though, as they poured so much damage into ADD, and he sort of giggled at them, I think. Oof, that's rough times.
Damage is really at a premium this game.
Yeah.
Camille.
It sort of is and it isn't. It depends where you're looking, you know, because it's like you say, I mean, Luden's Echo comes in second item for Pyrian, so he's at least building a lot of damage. Tal, I mean, he's going to be infinitely stacking. Theoretically, that Siphoning Strike's going to be doing infinite amounts of damage. But how you utilize it does look just super confusing to me.
It just feels like there's a lot of pillows on both sides,
Yeah.
except Nasus is slowly adding bricks to his pillow.
Yeah. Putting bricks inside his pillow. He's a grandma that's very safely walking home at night. That's what he is.
Seeing some of the damage dealt in the previous team fight. Was an extended one. Well, the Nasus just outscale. Definitely got the free lane, and free lane seems to make the Nasus pretty relevant. So I was before a skeptic. Maybe there is room for Nasus in the current meta.
Well, Blossom, unseen by MVP until he pokes his head over to this ward. This Pyrian's just desperate to be able to actually kill these, get the last hits on the Banner of Command cannon creeps. It's making him feel very upset.
ADD walk up, they push minions in mid. Rise is the one to track for MVP because he is the one who can do the heavier damage the game goes on. A Void Staff short of really having threat on many people though.
Yep. Morellonomicon is a smart one. Trying to...
Oh, wow. The blue.
Nice.
40% CDR, happy times. 555. That's a lot of damage.
Yep, 111 away from the Devil Siphoning Strike. I like it. Ian doesn't really care too much about his at least Spirit Fire damage. That's not going to be doing too much.
Turns out, if the game goes infinite time, SKT seems pretty happy.
Yeah, where's the Viger? They made a mistake. It's needed all of the infinite scaling.
You need to have some backup plans for game number 2.
ADD, I think he may have got withered, but I didn't really notice. Tal's going to take a little bit of damage. Cleaver goes into his face.
Big item lead for the Camille over the Xin, but obviously both of them kind of being ripped apart in terms of getting items. Just now, Trinity Force makes it look like a stronger game for Blossom than it has so far been.
Yep, Yondu also, I think, about to complete his. He's going back. Don't know whether he has quite enough money, as no, it's just a phage. So it's going to be done, as well as some control wards as he moves back towards the top side of the map.
Couple of stopwatches on the side of SKT as well, so barring a teamfight misexecution, it feels like they might have all their things ready to go. Max has got all the kills for the side of MVP, and I've got him a fast zone use, but we already mentioned that a lot of these members are hard to actually kill on the side of SKT. They're very tanky. That sitting in a Crowstorm isn't as punishing as it is for other team comps facing a Fiddle support.
Yeah, at least they can augment the fiddle support with Ian.
Where we going?
Warp. Okay, into the Baron pit.
Just checking it.
The theory, yep. Notices that there's a control ward, so they're probably not all just going to go for it. I like the thinking though, Pilot. You know, he doesn't exactly have a Rise player's mindset, as we do know him as an AD carry. Not the awesome dude carry, the attack damage variety normally. At the moment, awesome dude carry alongside Leo.
OGN has been staunch, keeping AD on their AR, so we came up with awesome dude, because it's certainly not attack damage.
Yep.
Yondu's going to have to face check here, and he's behind, so he dies pretty fast. Speaking of dying fast.
Oh, wild growth onto Ian. He's just flashing out of the fight, means he can't actually help out. Lots of damage does come in, as Effort was the target, but he's going to be safe now. ADD just soaking so much as Max gets in there with the Crow Storm, but is it actually going to be enough? Really big shield, but it's just destroyed by the Crimson Rush. Pyrian, beautiful use of the Taunus. Effort still stays alive after all that, and look at the Siphoning Strike damages. Tal is huge in the front line, and ADD, last man standing, will not survive. It's the ace for SKT.
And it's 5 for 1 as well. Nicely done by SKT. They clean up. Their tanky dealers do enough damage and do not die. And they're going to turn it into a Baron as well.
Yeah, Leo looked brilliant on that Vladimir, instantly popping Ian and getting him to use all of his defensives on himself.
Is this SKT Team 1, Team 2 like they used to be before? Is this just the B squad? Will we see this team in the second game? You have to be heartened if you're an SKT fan. They're able to win the team fight. They will turn into Baron, Blossom or no Blossom. MVP really focusing on the lanes, not getting advantage around the lanes, and then running out of damage in team fights means enter SKT. Hey look, they're going to win game 1.
Yeah, it does look like it. And it was only Ian that was actually hit by that Hemo Plague, and Yondu just dies as an afterthought, basically, the ultimate helping him a little bit.
And Mundo is so used to deciding fight after fight. He really just seems lost. Max dives in with the ult on no health, so dies. Leo finds it very easy. It's a good team fight by Leo on the Vladimir, even though the first Hemo Plague wasn't massive. They clean up well. Tal shows up, and watch this auto. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger, Atlas. And ADD just can't make it work on the Mundo. Finally seeing Mundo not be the teamfight terror, turns out Nasus. He's the top dog.
Yeah, and if you can... I see what you did there. As ADD can... Normally, you'd have a Mundo and he's causing a ruckus with the rest of his team alive. If you can just move past him and kill the rest of his team, which is exactly what SKT's comp is built to do, it doesn't really matter. Because in the end of the day, it's 5 versus Mundo, and he's just going to die.
Also, Xin Zhao and Lulu, the mid and jungle that was hyped up to be able to invade and fight. At this point in the game, doing no damage is, well, we're going to see an attempt here.
Yep, Crow Storm does come in for Max. I don't know whether he's got Zhonya's back off cooldown just yet, as he does have it. He's going to survive ADD, very late ultimate, but he's going to keep himself alive. As SKT, they haven't lost anyone just yet. Tal just needs a few Qs. He'll be back to full health as well. Grievous Wounds available almost everywhere, but really nice rotational play here from SKT. Gets them broken the base on the bottom side. Inhibitor is going to go down there. Now looking just to back away by the looks of things.
This game, the aggression from Blossom, it's worked.
Oh yeah.
The rest of the team has followed suit. They've pulled an easy-to-execute comp with all the engaged and Tal free farming in the top side, and all those variables together. I'm not sure what it means for the starting roster of Game 2, but it certainly has meant that Game 1 has looked pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, certainly some bloopers happening at the beginning, but otherwise, certainly nothing to complain about, really. An SKT, a 13,000 gold lead. You have to say that they deserve the credit. The thing that's just so difficult for me, why I'm adding caveats to this success that SKT have had in this game, is that previously we saw the other roster up against Genji, up against the Freak of Freaks, but not up against the likes of MVP or, you know, similar competition or lack thereof. So what does this even mean? Do we actually learn all that much from this particular game?
We don't scrub the team after Game 1 is what we learn. If this was a loss, then it's like, okay, just kidding. It's just a prank. We'll play the other team. This time, I think you need more information, Atlas. That's kind of my takeaway is they haven't looked embarrassed. I think the new members coming in have been admirable. Does that mean they're better than the other players? It's what everybody wonders, and we can't know the answer to that. Your first impression is no. But so far, all the team can do is come together and try to win, and they're doing that part just fine.
Well, double-banded melee minions just beating the heck out of that turret. Only one remains here in the base for MVP as far as inhibitor turrets are concerned, and SKT all stacked up, trying to take it down. Not a lot of range, but I think Tal might even be able to just walk up there if they get another minion wave Siphoning Strike or 2 will be the end of that turret.
Blossom also having largely a better game. Has helped their early gamers. Here we go!
Yep, First Storm's going to come in from Max. Another Zhonya's will be available, but can MVP actually cut through any of SKT? They just don't have the damage. And SKT say thank you for the initiation. We're going to get a double kill onto Pyrian. ADD going 1 versus 2 as Tal. He desperately wants to be able to take down this Mundo after that laning phase. And he will end up going down 1 versus 4, but it's going to take a while. And in his own fountain, he's just going to witness the demise of the Nexus. 13-5 in kills. SKT get their first win of the Summer Split 2018.
SKT and MVP in a knife fight down the bottom of the table. MVP RSVP'd yes to the knife fight. They saw the roster and they felt so good about it, but they bought butter knives, Atlas. They didn't have any damage to cut through. And the machetes from SKT, 4 machetes we couldn't have seen coming, are too strong for the MVP lineup. What does it mean for the next game or the future? You almost want to look at this dark data point and know already the spoilers for what comes next. We can't know, but for a first assignment for SKT, Team T1, Team 2, which is what you kind of have to call this roster, pretty well done.
Yeah, Ontara unfortunately didn't make it into the subs list, and that would have been just a full 5 swap. The Tal is going to be the last member surviving and got to play his puppy on the top side of the map, but one of the things that I want to talk about here is that MVP, the draft was questionable. Sure. A lot of the play was questionable. That's what's really hindering me from saying congratulations to SKT B, because I just wanted more from MVP.
I think that's a fair criticism. You could also look at SKT and none of the plays you could say, well, the person who's not there couldn't do that. It's also not like there was remarkable plays. I think Blossom's a different player to Blank, and I think his aggression did help them in this game more than it hurt them. But you're right, we can't draw a full inference. We can say that this Neo SKT lineup didn't embarrass themselves, did deserve another go-around. And any more than that, we have to sit back and let this man, said to be the greatest coach of all time, really make full sense of it.
Wow. Mundo did a lot of damage, but it wasn't enough because the rest of his team couldn't even get over 10k. Thankfully, on the side of SKT, they had a little bit more available to them. Leo, the Vladimir in the later stages of the game, there was no answer. There was no way to stop him. And with Rakan's engaged, with Camille's engaged, with the follow-up from the Galio, not a lot of options for MVP.
MVP had winning lanes, but from there, little else as it shook out. Side of SKT won early with some nice ganks from Blossom. They scaled well. The mid-game was deadly. And now we get to find out what unfolds after the break for game number 2.
Yeah, and are we going to have all of SKT